Welcome friends to another r/entitled parents video. Entitlement is usually not a good thing, but you know what is a good thing? Hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by Megan B. 2174. Entitled mother demands we give non-qualified daughter a job working with wild animals. Two women come in. One's an older woman, the other is a girl in her late teens or early 20s. The mother comes up and asks for a job application, and this is how it goes. I say, we don't have an application, you need to submit a resume and we'll call you if we think you fit. The entitled mother says, my daughter wants a job here. I say, okay, well, then she'll have to make a resume with her work history and qualifications and submit it to our website. She says, what qualification? I say, well, to work here, you must have certain training. We deal with aggressive and sometimes very dangerous animals. You have to know how to work with them. You also need to know how to react in emergency. She says, my daughter is great with animals. She worked for a farm last year. I say, I'm sorry, but the animals we deal with are not farm animals. Some of them can and will kill you if given the chance. She says, oh, you're being dramatic. I know you have teenagers from the school working here. It can't be that dangerous. I say, they don't work here. They volunteer here for school credit, and they don't work with the aggressive animals. She says, well, then she can work with the volunteers instead. I say, no ma'am, that's our volunteers' job. Our employees' jobs are to handle the more aggressive animals. That's why we hire them. She says, well then you can train her. Show her how to deal with the animals. I say, no ma'am, we can't. We don't have time to do that. That's why we require the qualifications. This isn't a school. Our employers are busy and can't spend their time babysitting her. She says, I want to speak to your boss. I say, okay. Go get Jax, explain everything. And Jax says, so Meg here tells me your daughter wants a job. The entitled mother says yes. Jax says, okay, well, we're looking for a new tiger feeder. We do not, nor have we ever had a tiger here. The entitled mother says, tiger. Jax says, yeah, really feisty guy. I've been filling in for the last few weeks and the thing almost bit my arm off the other day. She says, wait, what? Jax says, yeah, wild animals. Who knew? So if your daughter really wants the job, she's going to have to sign a contract releasing us of any fault in the event of injury or death. The entitled mother says, what? Jax says, we work with dangerous animals. We have all our employees sign this. We can't risk being sued every time an animal attacks someone. We don't have our employees sign this, though risk of injury is made clear in the job description. We do maintain a very safe work environment. If something was to happen, they have really good health insurance and life insurance. The entitled mother says, attacks? Jax says, yeah, I get attacked all the time. Then pulls up their sleeve to show actual scars he has from throughout the years. Not kidding, his arm is covered in them. Calls them his badges of honor as they represent the animals he helped. He can name what scar came from what animals. Jax says, but don't worry, only 2 people died. No one has died here, this was just Jax BSing. The entitled mother says, I think we're going to go. And her daughter run out the door. If you worked in a somewhat dangerous place like this and somebody was asking for a job who was clearly not caring about making sure they're actually qualified for it, would you give them fake horror stories like this too just to get them to go on their way? Or is that a bit too much trying to scare people? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by I Am Noob Gamer. A mom breaks a wheelchair over a parking spot. This happened around 2018. I have a friend that needs a wheelchair to move around. We went together to the mall to make some shopping and eat in a restaurant. So we parked in the last available disabled parking spot. As we all know, people with no disability take most of them. I always try to help him get out of the car, so I started opening the door to get his wheelchair until I heard someone saying, excuse me, we'll call her Karen, why not? I turned around and I saw a woman in her car around 30 years old with her daughter, I guess around 8 years old, I don't really know. And I say, yes? She says, are you leaving? I say, oh, no, sorry, I just parked. Karen, visibly angry, says, do you know that this is for disabled people, right? And you don't look disabled, but I am. I can't move properly. So you have to move before I call security. She obviously didn't see this thing that you put in the car so people know you're disabled and have permission to park there, which she didn't have. I did hold my need to laugh, turned around to the car again and took out the wheelchair. I say, I'm not the disabled one, my friend is. Now I'll go help him, have a nice day. Karen says, no, wait, my daughter has a birthday party here and will be late if you don't give me your spot, and they don't let anyone go in if they're late. I say, I'm sorry to hear that, but I really need a disabled spot for my friend, and the way you talked to me before doesn't make me want to help you too much. Karen screaming says, "You have no idea what having a kid is. You'll ruin her day." I say, "No, I'm not who's arguing instead of finding another spot, and you should have come earlier. It's not my fault." Karen comes out of the car and runs to me. She got crazy, screaming I don't even know what in another language in my face. I say, "I thought you were disabled. I see you can move perfectly." Well, I don't know how, but this super tiny woman managed to kick the wheelchair so hard that she broke a wheel and then ran away again, screaming in another language and laughing like a little evil girl. She thought that she ruined our day, but my friend has 2 wheelchairs in the car in case one breaks. It's happened in the past. We reported it, of course. Police came and told us later to come to the police office so we could eat now. Thanks to the security cameras, they found her and made her pay for the wheelchair, plus a little compensation. I'm sorry for the girl. She couldn't go to the party because of her crazy mom. You don't understand, OP. My kid can't get in if they're late, so I'm gonna make sure they can't go in. I'm just gonna go ahead and kick your wheelchair and break it. I doubt you'll get the police to come after me and we'll be enjoying our party while you're stuck with that broken wheelchair. You just kind of realize how awful the sense they're making in that moment is when you actually apply a little logistical thinking to what they actually do. This next story is by Valentine Star. Entitled Mother thinks it's my fault that an item isn't on sale. This happened 2 days ago while I was at work. The Entitled Mother was our first customer of the day, and we had to deal with her after we had some problems opening the store. Fun way to begin an 8-hour shift. Entitled Mother found the thing she was looking for as soon as she came in. It was a Halloween child's mask with a little black cat face on it. Pretty cute item. The woman buys it and, as me and my 2 coworkers stood there expecting her to leave, she looks at her receipt and tells us the item was too expensive. She pulls out her phone and shows us the same item on our company's website. On the website, the item's on sale. It's $3.99 instead of $9.99. The mask wasn't available to buy online, and the website didn't clarify it was a different price in stores. None of us knew what to tell her. Our Halloween items don't go on clearance until after Halloween. All I could do was keep saying, "I'm sorry, but it's $10. I don't know why it's a different price online, but if the register says it's $10, that's how much it is. I tried to explain that maybe the item was on sale online, but not in stores, but she wouldn't consider that because the website said it was available in stores for this price. It didn't, it just said it was available in stores. Like many Karens, she acted like it was our fault the item wasn't on clearance, that we had made the mistake. She got more and more pissed at us until finally, she just decided to return the item and leave. She tossed her receipt at me. Later that day, we had another lady who had the same problem while buying a Halloween mask, but as soon as I told her the item wasn't on sale in our store, she accepted that and the transaction went smoothly. I'm usually a very patient person with customers. I at least try to be. With that said, if you're being a witch who's going to interrogate me and my coworkers until we change the price of an item for you and act like we're scamming you because you made a mistake, you won't even get a "have a nice day" from me. You've lost your "have a nice day" privileges, ma'am. I definitely think in this situation you should try to get it fed up to somebody higher up as far as the weird inconsistencies on the website and the issues it's providing in the stores. I definitely feel for any retail worker that has to deal with people like this who are irate and angry and just feels a bit unjust. Our next story is by Carl 1972. Am I a bad son? My mother has been a narcissist her entire life. She had an affair with her high school sweetheart when I was 12 and made me lie to my dad about it. When he found out, he was upset with me for a while, thinking I was taking her side. When I was very young, I'm talking 4 to 6, she would also go to bars and leave me in the car, even on hot days, and bring me something to drink. One time she gave me a Coke, but didn't tell me it was for me, so I slowly took sips out of it, hoping she wouldn't notice. I was so afraid she'd be mad. She treats everyone like they owe her something. She's a hypochondriac and uses her illnesses to garner sympathy and attention. She faked a stroke a few years ago, and I dropped everything, including work, to go make sure she was okay. As it turned out, the doctor informed my brother and sister she didn't have a stroke. Apparently, she had seen someone else in the assisted living home where she was living had a stroke, and she mimicked their symptoms. I was an honor student, and because of that, I received a $500 cash award for college expenses from the local JC's. My mother asked me for it because she had run up credit card debt. When I refused, she stopped talking to me for like almost 2 weeks. One day, she was sickeningly sweet to me and finally dropped the bomb that the credit card bill was due and my dad would be angry. My dad was a good man but had an explosive temper. I was so disgusted at what she was asking, I just gave her the money. That was the breaking point in the relationship. After I left school, she and my dad moved to Tennessee. My dad was a long-haul trucker and was seldom home. She would go to an illegal gambling place and play the slots. She spent almost $60,000 in 1 year, and because of it, they lost their house. It's always someone else's fault. I recently found out that when I was a kid, she was having an affair with my dad's best friend. The wife of the person she had the affair with won't talk to her, and she doesn't understand why. She's been put into a nursing home that my brother and sister jumped through hoops to get her into after she was asked to leave her assisted living home because she was always accusing people of stealing from her. They weren't. Plus, she would fall and hurt her hip but wouldn't go to rehabilitation. It was recently diagnosed that she had early-stage dementia, and I thought I'd try to be a good son and would call her when she was in quarantine. While on the phone, she started complaining that my brother and sister had forced her into the nursing home and wouldn't let her come live in their houses. They have big houses. But after some of the stunts she pulled, they didn't want her in the house. She stole $100 from my wallet at my nephew's wedding. Whatever. Recently when I was talking to her, I reminded her of all that my brother and sister had done to help her, and she got mad and hung up on me. I haven't called her or spoken to her since. My sister thinks I should forgive her, but I can't. I'm in my 50s now and I'm finally done with it. I know she's my mother, but am I a bad son? So I know people are your parents, right? If they're your mother, they're your father, they helped raise you to the best of their abilities, or maybe not. But just because of that, I don't think you inherently owe them anything. Let's just put it that way. And it's also the law to raise you a certain way, to a certain standard. Once you're an adult and you're supporting yourself and you're on your own, if they're a terrible person to you, you don't have to feel obligated to be trapped in that. So long story short, my answer to OP is, no, you're not a bad son. In fact, I bet a lot of people would do a lot less. Our next story is by Ye Depressed Boy. Sick Karen yells at me and coworkers about gift cards. This story is from when I was working at the local co-op gas station in my hometown. There was this redhead kid who came in and bought Google Play cards and a bottle of Mountain Dew, and only those items every time. But we had people like that. But one time, his mom came in with him, and this is that story. It was a normal day just like any other. I was manning the till along with cool supervisor and older employee since no cars were outside needing gas. Then we saw her. At first, I only recognized the kid since he came in more often, but as they got closer to the station, I saw that the Karen was lugging along a metal canister that contained something. I assumed it was for medical reasons, and I was right because when she came in, I noticed that she had one of those plastic pipes in her nose that connect to the canister. Karen says, "Excuse me." I say, "Yes, ma'am." She says, "My son bought a gift card from this store, and it isn't working." I say, "May I see the card?" Redhead kid brought the card over and I looked it over. It turns out the place where you scratched to get the code was obscured by some gunk, and you couldn't use the code. At this point, my coworkers took notice of the situation. Cool supervisor said, "What did you use to scratch this?" Redhead kid says, "My fingers." Older employee says, "That'll do it. You probably didn't get all of it or you straight up scratched off the code." The redheaded kid says, "Aw." Cool supervisor says, "Sorry, kid." Redheaded kid turned away to leave, but then Karen grabbed him and pointed her finger at us and yelled, "We deserve a refund." I say, "Ma'am, we can't refund gift cards." Karen says, "Why not?" I didn't know the full details of how it worked. I just knew you couldn't refund the gift cards. I began to stutter when cool supervisor came to my aid and explained the process to Karen, but she wasn't done yet. She says, "Well, where in the store does it say we can't refund gift cards?" Redheaded kid says, "Right here." Karen turned around to redheaded kid, pointing right to a sign that said in bold text, "Due to system errors, we cannot refund gift cards." Older employee started to laugh under his breath because of how Karen looked like her own kid had smacked her upside the head, and I was trying not to burst into laughter. Then Karen uttered the sacred words, "Let me speak to your manager." Cool supervisor says, "She's out right now." Then as the saying, "Speak of the devil and he shall arrive," goes our manager, happening to walk into the store just then. Seeing that something was off, she came up to us. Manager says, "Is everything okay?" Karen says, "Our gift card is unreadable so we can't use the code, and these boys won't give us a refund." Karen looked very smug, thinking our manager would be on her side. As for redheaded kid, he looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. I just felt bad for him. Redheaded kid says, "Can we leave?" Karen says, "No, we're getting you a gift card." Manager says, "Can I see the card?" I say, "Here." She began to look over the card, found the gunk, returned to Karen and said, That's Google's issue, not ours. Karen says, excuse me, what? She says, yeah, it's a manufacturing error, so you can take this up with Google, but it's not our issue. Karen says, I'll sue. Manager says, good luck with that. Google's probably got lawyers out the butt. Karen says, I meant I'll sue you. Manager says, what did we do? Karen says, you sold us a faulty product. The manager says, we couldn't have known it had gunk on it, and we got it from Google, so take it up with them. Karen left in a huff, yelling about how terrible this store is and how she'll never come here again, like that was a bad thing. We never heard from her again. I've said this before, but I always appreciate somebody who's just totally irate and says, I'll never come back here again. Absolutely, please don't come back. We have plenty of other customers unlike you. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.